good to be back. I'm here for a pastor's meeting. How's it going, guys? John Tilley is my hero, and John is looking at the Krispy Kremes that
I'm just
Benji got
from looking at them.
Sniffing them. I'll turn the camera off before you grab one.
No,
Don't worry.
I'm gonna resist.
You are a better man than me.
Well, my wife brought me a donut yesterday,
Oh, okay.
and it wasn't everything I hoped for.
Well, was it a Krispy Kreme though?
No, this would be better.
Oh, that's
This
the
would definitely
thing.
be better. But I wished I had turned down the donut yesterday. So
you gotta have this one. You turn down.
because this, if I was gonna have one, I would either have this one or that one. That's what I would do.
Just go rock climbing later today.
Well, I'd like to, but
He's got appointments. Dave Ramsey lesson. Pass up the donut tomorrow so you can have a donut today. Time to head back up the hill. It's so weird moving out of my office. It's really strange taking the stuff down that I feel like I just put up. It's gonna be a good transition. We've got about 2 more weeks until we have to be gone in terms of the moving truck coming and all of our stuff going away. Sarah's gonna be taking off in May. I'm gonna be taking off in July, but we're gonna be moving back to Michigan in a few weeks with all of our stuff. So today, what I want to talk to you guys about is bad days. Bad days. We all have bad days. It sucks. But the other day, I had a really, really bad day. It started out with me driving down to Modesto to help my grandpa and my Uncle Mark load up a trailer. And when I got to the house, I discovered this huge cut in my car. And that was really upsetting to me because no one had even left a note or anything, and I'd left the scene, I hadn't contacted the police, and it was just really frustrating. Plus, I have a high deductible because I pay less on insurance every month, and normally that pays out, but this time it bit me. I get down to Modesto and we head over to the U-Haul place to go pick up the trailer to haul these huge light posts. We get to the U-Haul place and my car battery dies. And the place where I parked my car was really hard to get to, and my grandpa had already hooked the trailer up to the truck, and so it was even harder to get to. There was no way to back in and out easily. So we had to back in, jump my car. So then we start driving down the road, and we are going to this one street, and there's 2 streets named the exact same thing. I don't even remember what the street was called anymore. But I start heading north, they were heading south, and we got separated, which was really bad because they didn't have an address, they just knew where it was, so I was blindly following them and couldn't use my GPS. I called them, they were able to give me directions, and I realized I'm almost out of gas. So I stop at a gas station, turn my car off, fill my car up, and guess what? Dead battery again. So 2 dead batteries and this big dent in my car, and I got lost, and I'm not able to find this place. Dudes, the world is a tough place, man. People are mean. Like, I asked about 15 people if they could jump my car, and they all thought like I was scamming them or something, and I finally went and I asked this one dude if he could help me. And he said no, and so I just sat in my car and just face palmed. I don't know if my face palming made him feel guilty or something, but he filled up his car and he drove over and he jumped my car. I was so thankful. I offered him some money. Really nice guy, didn't take it. After that experience, I head down the road and it takes me about 15 minutes to find them. I'm driving around in circles, can't find them. Finally get there, and it takes way longer than expected because these are huge, massive concrete pillars and we only have one come along. We're trying to get these two things up on the trailers and it is just a terrible time. I drive home, and I was gonna go rock climbing with my buddy John Tilley that you saw earlier in there, and Nathan, but I wasn't able to do it because I had to report this thing with the cops, which sucks because I just got a rock climbing harness and rock climbing shoes and I was all good to go. I called John, I cancel with John, I get out of the car, I start getting ready to call the cops, and I open my house and there are hundreds, if not thousands of bugs crawling all over the floor, all over the walls, all over the windows. And I look and I'm like, what in the world? What is this? And then it hits me. They're termites. So I call the property management company. We need to fix this. And the lady, who's super nice and well-composed, started freaking out. She's this well-composed businesswoman, and she cusses like 5 times, and I was like, uh-oh, this is really bad. It was Friday, she couldn't do it, so she just said, buy something, and I'll deal with that. So I took the vacuum for about 20 minutes and just sucked termites up from our house. And then after I take care of the termite madness, I have to call the cops again, file a police report. By that time, the termites are launching even more, so I have to vacuum more. And I'm just like, okay, I gotta go to Walmart, I gotta go pick up some spray so I can kill these buggers. I drive to Walmart, get the spray, get back to my car. Oh, and I'd also bought a new battery. That was the next thing I did. I bought a new battery because my battery was done. I connected it all up. I was really eager to get back to my house so I could kill these termites. I get back to the car and I'd forgotten to connect the leads to the new battery well enough, and so my car was dead. Someone tried to break into my car a few weeks ago, so the manual lock doesn't work on the door, so it only uses the clicker. Great! Not only has my battery died on me twice, now my battery's disconnected from the leads. I have this huge dent in my car. I've got to get back to talk to the cops and the insurance company, and my house is full of termites. So I call AAA, and I got a message that said, due to a high amount of calls we're getting, you can expect delays of about an hour before you can talk to someone, so try calling again later. And I was so frustrated. So I went back into Walmart, and I just like stress bought tons of stuff. I got mozzarella sticks, and we had veggie burgers and french fries and ice cream because I'm a fatty. After that whole experience, I get to line. This cashier at Walmart is super frustrated. He's like super angry, and he totally shuts this lady down. This little old grandma lady who's trying to be nice to him, shuts her down. And I'm thinking, great, now I've got to deal with this guy. And one of the things I like to say to people, especially at Walmart, one thing I like to do to sort of break the ice is ask them, so how long do you have in your shift? Because they're all looking forward to getting off their shift. And he was like, 9 hours. I'm like, oh, dude, I'm sorry. He's like, well, that's not the worst of it. And I thought, oh, okay, well, better listen to this guy. I'm having a pretty bad day myself, but I'm gonna listen to him. I start asking him more questions. I'm like, well, what's worse? It's my birthday. And I thought, oh, dude, that's terrible. It's your birthday, you've got 9 hours left in your shift, that's horrible. And then he said, that's not the worst thing. And I'm like, well, what's the worst thing, man? Come on. Your day can't be as bad as mine. He said, my grandma died. And I was just like, dude, this kid is having a way worse day than me. I'm having termites, I'm having someone hit and run my car, I'm having my battery die multiple times, I'm stuck at Walmart for another hour, but this dude, it's his birthday, he's got 9 hours left, cashing ungrateful, crazy consumers in Walmart, and his grandma died. I mean, I could have had a day that was much worse. And imagine if I'd been feeling sorry for myself to the point where I got mad at that kid because he was grouchy, because I thought my day was worse than his. That would have been horrible. And I'm not some sort of saint, but because I was able to listen to him and say, man, this kid is important. I need to hear what's going on in his day. I was able to listen to him and help him feel better. When we have bad days, because bad days happen, we can do a few things. One thing we can definitely do is we can pout and be miserable and make other people miserable with us. The other thing we can do is recognize that bad days just happen. This place sucks to live in, and that's why I personally am looking for heaven. Another thing is those bad things do go away. The third thing is, if we're not paying attention to other people hurting, even when we're hurting, then we're opening up ourselves to a lot of trouble. One of the things that's really interesting to me about the gospel narrative and the story of Jesus is, as Jesus is on his way to the cross, he's ministering to people, he's helping people, he's listening to them. There's these women that are sort of mourning, and he's like, don't mourn for me, I'm mourning for you, right? And there's the thief on the cross, there's the centurion, there's all these people that Jesus is interacting with and trying to help. Even though he is going through some of the worst emotional, perhaps not physical, but the worst emotional pain that anyone could have ever endured, even though he's going through that, he's paying attention to other people's needs. He's hearing people out, even if they're not quite suffering as much as him. So that's just my story. I had a really bad day after that too. I went home, and because I had to spray the place with poison, I moved my entertainment center back away from the wall, and then when the poison was done doing its thing, I pushed the entertainment center back to where it was, and I cracked it, and the TV almost broke. And at that point, I just sat back and laughed because the day was over, the TV didn't break, it was a $20 entertainment center, and I was gonna be going to sleep pretty soon. So just thought that might be encouraging to you.